Weekly trades with precision, gold, silver, and commodity setups broken down with full transparency, wins and losses included. This is the Golden Nugget with Verified Investing.
Could the Fed rate decision actually send gold plummeting downward to $4,000 or even less? Or could it pump everything even higher and potentially get us to a new all-time high, just like silver has been doing without the Fed rate decision? That's what we're here to talk about today. And I want to welcome you to the Golden Nugget that happens every Wednesday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Obviously, I'm Drew Wolfer. I am your golden guide to everything that happens inside of the metals markets and just the broader financial markets, because we know that all of these markets are actually intertwined with each other. Now, if this is your first time here, we appreciate you, whether you're watching on the legendary Verified Investing YouTube channel or the Drew Wolfer YouTube channel or any of our Twitters. We appreciate you because we would not have an audience without you. And today we are going to tell you what's going on inside of the broader, financial markets and namely the metals markets, right? Because we have FOMC coming in just about an hour and a half if you're watching this when it's airing, right? Secondarily, we are going to give you a golden nugget and teach you something that I teach inside of the Golden Opportunity, which is a training that I brought out in conjunction with Verified Investing that teaches you exactly how I have an 80 to 90% win rate inside of, these markets, especially within 2025. And then third, what we're going to do is we are going to get into the economic calendar and then do the silver snapshot, which is where we actually go in and do the technical analysis on silver, give you the trades, and then we will do the exact same thing inside of gauging gold. So without further ado, I want to get into it because I think this is a big day and we're going to focus a lot more on technicals with a little bit of a focus on the fundamentals. So let's just get into our very first segment, which is called the commodity compass. So what is actually kind of driving these broader financial markets, at least right now, especially from a gold and silver perspective, okay? So we had the JOLTS data. That is the jobs data inside of the United States. It came in. It actually came in above expectations. That was yesterday, okay? 7.7 million jobs created as opposed to the previous, which was 7.2 million jobs created. And that was actually the forecast and consensus of what this JOLTS data was going to come in at. So they beat by 500,000 jobs. So a pretty decent amount of a beat on that, right? Now, we also have an over 80% chance of a Fed interest rate cut of 25 basis points. And I'm going to tell you what the scenarios are, because there's 4 scenarios that happen today, right? Most likely. And I'm going to tell you what all those scenarios are inside of the Golden Nugget. Now, the last thing that I think is driving this market, okay, other than, the obviously geopolitical tensions and, the other things that are happening inside of the world, right? We have a silver supply crunch. But let me give you a little bit of a differing opinion, because now my opinion as opposed to last week has changed just a little bit on the silver supply crunch. So we see a massive, massive rally inside of silver, which is great for us because we were longing and shorting and, getting in and out of silver. And this is actually really good for the people inside of Smart Money Commodities. So if you're inside of Smart Money Commodities, which is our signal service inside of, or our alert service inside of Verified Investing, where I give out a lot of trades on all these commodities, man, you're doing extremely well, right? We're doing extremely well. But silver's rally is up over 100% this year. And it pretty much has been fueled by robust industrial demand, as well as investment interest from not just a institutional perspective, but more retail, and then lingering supply chain constraints, right? Just overall supply constraints. But we did see a lot of inflows into the silver-backed exchange traded funds and products, right? And this remains strong, but the one thing I want people to understand is that there's now rising inventories of silver, physical silver, inside of the London exchange and vaults. And this could suggest that the market may be easing a little bit. And I'm going to give you the analysis on that here in just a second. So let's talk about our second segment, which is the economic calendar. Then we'll get into our golden nugget and give you the 4 scenarios on the FOMC decision. And then we're going to get straight into the technicals. Okay. Now, the economic calendar, obviously we know today it's game time. It's game day. This is where everything happens, right? FOMC interest rate decision that happens at 2 p.m. p.m., okay? 80% chance, 25 basis point rate cut. Then on Thursday, which is tomorrow, we have the initial jobless claims. Then on Friday, we have wholesale inventories, and we have a bunch of Fed officials' speeches from, like the FOMC, the Federal Reserve chairs and things of that sort, right? The presidents of the different Federal Reserves in different states, okay? Monday, Empire State Manufacturing. This is pretty critical. And then Tuesday, we have the unemployment reports, retail sales, business inventories, S&P services, and manufacturing PMI. Okay, these things are all going to be pretty heavily weighted on Tuesday. So just be prepared for volatility, not only today, but through next Wednesday. Okay, now let's get into the Golden Nugget. And this is my favorite segment because I get to teach you something that I teach inside of the Golden Opportunity, which is, again, that training that I brought out in conjunction with Verified Investing. So let's just talk about it, right? This is going to be the importance of these monetary policy decisions. And in my opinion, this is what I teach inside the Golden Opportunity. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of it. There are 4 scenarios right here for gold, and not only just gold, but silver and the rest of the market. Scenario 1. We get that 25 basis point rate cut, and we get a dovish tone, meaning that the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, comes out and says, hey, we think that we're going to potentially continue cutting rates into 2026, or at least Q1 of 2026, right? We're going to see gold pump, okay? Scenario number 2 is we get that same rate cut, but we get a hawkish tone, meaning they're like, hey, the jobs data came in well. We had, we have higher than expected inflation, but we think our economy's doing decent. We're not going to cut anymore, right? No expectations of cutting in the immediate future, right? That's a hawkish tone. We could see gold dump, and then obviously the S&P, silver, crypto, pretty much everything could get hit at that point. Then we have scenario 3. No rate cut, does not matter what the tone is, everything's going to dump. And then we have scenario 4, which is they actually come in and they beat that rate cut and they do 50 basis points, okay? And again, I don't really think that it matters what the tone is, whether dovish or hawkish. You're going to see gold and other markets pump because it's easier for markets, institutions, and retail people alike to come in and put money into the markets because they can borrow money for less now. So it makes gold and silver's appeal less, and because they don't really have any, they have price appreciation, but they don't have any real yield bearing to them, right? So a lot of times you will see all of these other things pump whenever you get that, right? You'll still see gold and silver go up, but you'll see the S&P pump a lot more. All right, so now let's do the silver snapshot and let's give you all of the technical levels on silver. We're going to speed run through all of the potential trades because I want to do some overarching, I want to show you some very pertinent things that are happening inside of the silver chart right now. Okay, so speed run, right? Here we go. These are our trades, okay? This is what we can potentially see. So first off, we had this nice trade on our descending triangle breakout, and we hit full take profit on that, right? Now, there was a second trade that we gave out, and obviously this one I did not talk about as much, but this was the second trade that we gave out, and it actually hit the naked VWAP bounce, did not stop us out, boom, blasted all the way up to the full take profit at the 2.618. So 2 really, really good trades last week. I was super happy with those. Now, what else can we be seeing? Well, if we get a potential double top with an SFP up here, we can be shorting, all right? And we can short it down to the naked VWAP level right here at about $59.05. The other level is the 2.618. If you get under this, bearishly backtest it, you can start shorting at about the $60.11 range on the spot charts. First level that you're looking at, $59.07, the naked VWAP. Second levels you're looking at is the bottom end of this range, $56.87. Then we have the shorts at this naked VWAP down here at about $54.77, which is going to be a key critical area of support, right? But if you get under this 2.236 and those double tops right here, you can start thinking about shorting even further down to about the $50 range. Then we've got our obvious levels, shorting at the 2.0 fib, the 1.786, the 1.618, and the 1.5 fib all the way down here. But again, we're not going to get to those levels for quite a while. Then you've got the other obvious levels of, if you bounce from those levels, you're longing. The one that I think becomes the most pertinent is going to be This one right here. And that is the 2.236, which is right around $54, and that's where your double top is. This is where you're going to see the most amount of support, in my opinion. You have a naked VWAP here, you have the double top, and you have the 2.236. And secondarily, if we get a bounce from the 2.618, now that we've gotten above it, we can start thinking about longing all the way up to about $64, and I'll show you exactly why we're thinking about longing at $64. Now, here's the things that are happening inside of silver, and I'm switching over to the futures charts because I like the futures charts a lot more. We are seeing a potential topping tail happening up here, right? And that's today. We had a massive run up. We have a nice range right here. That was a decent little bull flag. I didn't really see it as a bull flag because it was like super upward sloping, but we did break out of it, and that's that. So what do I want to show you? Well, we've got our naked points of control and our naked VWAPs that bring us down here to this range right here, in between about $54 and about $53, as you can see, even $52.50, right? So that's the first thing that you really need to be watching out for. Your second range is going to be right down here at about $50 to $51, okay? So we could see a fall potentially down to those levels. That's where you could be seeing a pullback, okay? Now, the other thing I want to show you is an FRVP, okay? This November 2025, from the bottom to the top of this, we are seeing the value area high here. It's $57.52. And then if we lose that, we've got our obvious support at about $54, but your point of control is down here at about $51. And look how well both of those levels line up with your naked daily point of controls and naked daily VWAPs down here, right, that you can see, okay? So that's first and foremost. Those are your FRVPs, fixed range volume profiles. Now, let me show you some pretty crazy stuff, okay? If we get to our monthly chart, I can show you something. From the top of our previous all-time high, $50, to the bottom, if you come over here and you look, you will see that we got into my first proprietary deviation zone outside of that range, and we're now potentially rejecting after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months up, right? 7 straight months up. Yep, 2, 4, 6, 7. Actually, this will be the 8th month if we, finish this month with a green candle. But we have 7 confirmed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 confirmed green months up. Now, look at this one. From the bottom here to the top, again, you've gotten into the deviation zone and you're potentially rejecting just below $63, okay? These are proprietary deviation zones, by the way, right? Now, if you take, let's go to the daily chart and we will get this pulled back up, bam. From this run up to the new high, right? We can see that we got into the deviation zone, blasted outside of it, and then front ran the other deviation zone up here at about $64. And bang, look at this one. From the bottom to the top, and you just smashed right into the second deviation zone and are now rejecting. Look at this one though. The second deviation zone from this bottom to this top after the new all-time high, from the bottom to the top and the SFP at that new all-time high, boom, we blasted up, we got into the second deviation zone and we are potentially rejecting. And where do all of these things line up? $54 support, right? Pretty simple. $54 support to get back into the range, right? $54 support to get back into the range, right? It's pretty crazy. $54 support to get back into the range, and here it's, $50 support. So these are the things that I'm taking into account. The other thing I want to show you is this parallel, okay? If you look at the October parallel, bang, right into my proprietary deviation zone, rejection, right back outside of it, support at $59. Past that, you're coming right back down to the midpoint of that channel at about $54, okay? Look at this parallel. We blasted all the way outside of it. Absolutely insane. Insane move to the upside, but look at this one. Front ran the first deviation zone, and on the second one, again, front ran the first deviation zone, potential rejection. That's what we're seeing inside of silver. In my opinion, $54 is going to be your first key critical level of support. Now, let's do gauging gold, and let's talk about what's happening inside of gold. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do a speed run through our potential trades. So we have the back test of the parabolic parallel. You're longing and you're looking to bring it back up to those highs, right? We have the test of the naked daily VWAP and naked daily point of control level down here, and right at about $4,060. Boom, again, looking to bring it right back up to those highs if we are longing. Secondarily, we have the $4,000 range, which lines up with our 2.618 Fibonacci. And if we can bounce from there, boom, we are blasting off. All right, that's what we're looking to do. We have key critical support here at $4,000. The last long, if you get all the way down to the bottom end of this parallel, near about 3660, that is where I could see us catching a really, really decent bounce, because this is almost like, this is where I think we could start to see our bottom on gold if we were to indeed get a pullback. Now, what about shorts? If you come up here and you double top at the previous all-time high, you get an SFP and a bear div, you're shorting back down to the bottom end or the top end of this parabolic parallel. That would be a massive, massive move, okay? Secondarily, you can also SFP this high or this high and short down to the bottom or the top end of this parallel as well, right? Now, the other thing, once you lose this parallel, you definitely have to start thinking about shorts, and you definitely have to start thinking about bringing them down to this naked daily VWAP, naked daily point of control, and even the $4,000 level to see if we get a potential bounce there. And the last one is obviously you get under those and you get under the 2.618 right here, you are looking to short down to the bottom end of the parallel. Now, for the trades that we have on right now, right, we have two gold long trades. I would just set my stop loss on both of these trades, right, to where we are, no matter what, we are profitable. And that would be under this parallel and under both of these lows, right? So I would set it under $4,161 to just protect my gains, okay? Now, let's talk about what I'm seeing inside of the gold markets that kind of can paint a picture of where we could be potentially going, okay? Now, the first thing that I kind of want to show people, the naked daily points of control, naked daily VWAPs, we have them all the way down, but we have nothing above us. We have one above us at 4250, and that is why I'm thinking 4250 could be a key level that we see a nice pullback from. Secondarily, if we come here to our FRVPs, look at this double top FRVP. If you measure from the top to the bottom on that, we literally just rejected from the value area high. We're getting under the point of control and rejecting, and guess where your support is? $4,000 at the value area low. Now, the other thing I want people to notice, if you take from the low here to the high, it is the same thing. You're getting ready to lose this value area high under about $4,200, and if you get under that, you're coming down here to about $4,000 to the point of control, and even further to about $3,950, which is the value area low. The other thing that I want people to look at is this run up, right? After we had these all-time highs, we had consolidation, right? Boom, we went from the lows to the highs, and guess what? $4,008 is where that point of control is, okay? And then even further than that, you've got 3864. Now, if you look at the full and lowest portion of that came after our previous all-time high, and you run that all the way up to the new all-time high, you're seeing again the value area high lining up right there at about the $4,000 range. Now, the other thing I want people to take into account are these couple of things. We've got our trend fib, okay? This trend fib, we literally rejected from the 2.618 at 43.51, and your first support, you guessed it, $3,950 to $4,000. Past that, you're looking at $3,300, and honestly, $3,500 is kind of your like bare minimum. Like, this is as far as we could potentially go, at least from what I'm seeing right now. Now, look at this 2025 parallel. This thing is pretty cut and dry, right? If you look and you see from this high to this high and you measure it all the way up, you're seeing where's your support? $4,060. Where's your first deviation zone? $3,950, right? Now let's look at another parallel. From this high to this high all the way through, we rejected from the first deviation zone, again bounced from the deviation zone twice down here. Where's your first support? $4,060. Deviation zone, $3,900 to $3,950. Pretty cut and dry, right? And then if you look at these highs to these highs to these highs and these lows to these lows to these lows to these lows, right? You can see we rejected from the second deviation zone, and now we've rejected twice from the first one. Losing momentum, we get back under this, and boom, you could see support all the way down here to about $3,750 to about $3,500, which is right there. As you can see, your first deviation zone lines up as it sits right now with those previous all-time highs, and it lines up over here to the second deviation zone perfectly to those all-time highs. So that is essentially what I am seeing inside of the broader metals markets right now, and hopefully that is helpful to you. Let's see how many trades we can get into next week, and hopefully we will kill it as we are inside of Smart Money Commodities. If you want all of my trades, get inside of Smart Money Commodities, because I can tell you every single day, where are we moving our stop losses? Where are we getting in? Where are we getting out? Where are we taking profits? And you don't have to wait for a week in order for me to do that. Now let's do the last thing really quick, which is answering just a couple of questions from last week. Okay, so the first question was from ADub101, and I think this is more of a statement. He said, 90% trade success rate in the past year, all while gold is going up 60% in the same time. I'd hope so, and then puts a smiley face or a laughing, crying emoji. So yeah, let's talk about that, man. I love addressing stuff like that. So you're right, gold is up 60% in this past year, right? But if you see my totals, and that's if you sold the top. That's assuming that you sold the top. It's not up 60% right now. But if you look at my 2025 totals, you would have made about 3 times that. 91.5% win rate on almost 100 trades, 206% P&L. I'd say that's pretty substantially higher than the 60% that gold has gone up, right? And if you look like at all my 2025 trades here, right? We're not just giving, here's a short, here's a short, 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 short. We're not just longing gold here, right? We're longing, we're shorting, we're longing, we're shorting, we're longing, we're shorting, right? And you can even see here, like we've got shorts here, we've got shorts here, we've got shorts here. So the whole point of trading is not just like you're investing. What you're talking about is investing, right? Yeah, I could have made 60% if I bought the bottom and sold the top of gold in 2025. You absolutely could have. But you could have made 206% by just following the 2025 trade calls that Drew Wolfer gave on gold and silver. So let's get into the next question. And if you want, again, all of those trades, get into Smart Money Commodities, right? That's and the first link in the description. So Robert D. Strum 4697 said gold soon double top, then ... Well, let me show you something, Robert, because I think there's a couple of different double tops that we could have here, right? So let's get right inside of here. Boom. So you could double top here, but you could just double top right here. As you can see, this could be your double top, right? So if that happens, you're going to see support here at about $4,050 and $4,000. Okay. Now, if you get double top here, you're going to see support here at about $4,200, $4,250, and then you're going to see more support here at about $4,200. So there's 2 different ways, in my opinion, that we can double top. It's not like the full all-time high double top. There is that scenario, but then there's also the scenario that we could just double top at the levels that we are at right now. And then our third question, Wes Arnett said, do you give out smart trades in Smart Money Commodities and miner service? I think we answered that last week, actually. But yes, we do, and we give out a lot more trades on a lot more different assets than just, mainly we're giving out gold and silver. That's where we're getting a lot of our trades. But we also have oil, natural gas, all the grains, platinum, palladium, all those different things inside of Smart Money Commodities. So if you want to get in there and get my trades on a daily basis, that's exactly where you can do it. I appreciate everybody so much for showing up. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Let's hope for some volatility from the FOMC decision. Imagine waking up every day with freedom. No boss, no clock, just you, your charts, and profit stacking. That is the life of a verified pro trader, and it's exactly how I built mine, by learning to trade gold the right way. I've helped countless members start winning, and now it's your turn. This is your golden opportunity to trade like a pro, live like a boss, and take advantage of the gold super cycle that is transferring wealth like we've never witnessed before. So make this your golden opportunity.